Hi everyone! So here we are for the second to last chapter of our book. There are only 2 chapters left. This chapter is called The Yeti Trap. Before I knew what I was doing, I'd climbed down from the roof and was racing across the playground. And Jodie was running after me shouting, "Abort mission! Abort mission!" because she obviously wanted me to stop, but I couldn't. The next 30 seconds were a bit of a blur, but before I knew it, I was at the cabin library and Zach was leaning over the roof looking down at me shouting, "Izzy, what are you doing? Grab my hand!" I climbed up to the window ledge and Zach pulled me up onto the roof and I was in so much shock that I had to lie down and just let the snow fall on my face for a second. Then Zach said, "Why did you run over here like that? The Yeti almost got you." And I felt a shiver go down my spine when Zach said that, because even though I didn't remember running past the Yeti, I know I must have. So I jumped up and told Zach that we needed to get out of there now, and that the Yeti was headed this way, and that I'd come to save him, even though I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to do that. But Zach said that he knew the Yeti was headed straight for him and that that was what he wanted to happen and that that was why he'd been doing all the waving and yelling and whistling. Then he started running around the roof, touching things and pulling things, and I had no idea what he was doing until he said, "You almost got caught in my Yeti trap." And I gasped when I saw what he'd made, because Zach had attached the net to bits of rope and he'd tied loads of weird knots all over the place. It was awesome. That's when Zach told me that he'd lost us after he smelled the smell and that he was worried that the Yeti had captured us. So he ran back to the PE cupboard to get the ropes and dragged them all the way up here to make the trap. I was amazed because the Yeti traps looked really professional and I had no idea Zach could do stuff like that. Zach said, "I'm probably going to get expelled for this." So I said that me and Jodie were definitely getting expelled, and I told him about Mrs. Seath's broken heels and the bare feet, and he looked shocked. And that's when I remembered that there was a Yeti coming to eat us, so I rolled over onto my stomach and crawled to the edge of the roof to look for it. But it was gone. I looked up and saw that Jodie and Gary were still on top of the old bike shed, and that they were both waving at us loads, and it looked like they were trying to tell us something. Jodie was shouting something, but the wind and snow were blowing so hard that I couldn't hear what it was. I thought that maybe they were trying to tell us that the Yeti was close, but I couldn't see it anywhere. And that's when I realised that Jodie was using Makaton again. That was sign language, remember? And I gasped because I knew what the sign she was doing meant. Jodie was trying to tell us that the Yeti was behind us. Me and Zach both turned around really slowly. And that's when we saw the tip of the Yeti's head. It was climbing up the side of the cabin to get us. Zach leapt up and shouted, "Help me pull!" And I saw he was pulling on his Yeti trap. So I helped, and then all of a sudden the Yeti head disappeared, and there was a loud groan. And Zach yelled, "Gotcha!" And I couldn't believe it. We'd trapped the Yeti. So I yelled, "Quick! Maisie might be stuck in the trap too. We need to get her out before the army chopper gets here and takes them both to Mount Everest." But Zach just stared at me because he obviously had no idea what I was talking about. And that's when I remembered that he didn't know about the whole Maisie Yeti baby thing. I looked over the side at the Yeti to see if Maisie was trapped with it, but it was hard to see because of all the thrashing and the fur. So I climbed down and Zach said, "Be careful, don't get too close." But I knew that I had to get close because if Maisie was stuck inside with the Yeti, then I was going to rip a little hole in the net to get her out. But then all of a sudden, the Yeti stopped thrashing and started screaming. And I was surprised at how human a Yeti cry could sound. And that's when I realised that I recognised the scream a bit. It sounded like Maisie's scream, only it was deeper and louder. I watched as the Yeti kicked and screamed, and its fur moved, and I saw its face. And that's when I realised that the Yeti wasn't a Yeti. It was a human woman. And it wasn't just any human woman. It was Maisie's mum. And the last chapter is called Pink Bootlaces. So I'll see you next time for that. Don't forget, tomorrow, 11 o'clock, we are doing Finger Gym video call, if it works. Let's hope. So hopefully I will see some of you then. Bye.